Oh, guys, today we have a phenomenal guest, Marco Trombetti. I mean, probably you already know him. If you ever translated anything, and probably is the person to go to. And but I would like to hand it over to you, Marco, so you can tell us a bit more about yourself, about what you do, what you like, what you don't, and then I just take you right to the casino and we play the roulette.
Thank you, Riccardo, for inviting me. It's a pleasure. And so my name is Marco Trombetti, and I'm an entrepreneur and also investor. I started in 1999 creating Translated. That was one of the very first internet translation company, and that has been using AI since ever, mostly on human-machine symbiosis. Our focus on the tech part was trying to understand how to help professional translators with a suggestion. The translator will fix the error, the machine will learn from those mistakes. And we have been training AI for 25 years, and we have been working to try to understand how to make AI usable and profitable for humans for many, many years. And Translated grew, became a great company, a leader in translation worldwide. Many of you probably are customers of us. You simply don't know. So if you're using Uber, if you're using Starlink, or if you're using Airbnb, every kind of piece of content you will find there, including the chat between the guest and the host, that is all 100% translated. And like the company is based in Rome, and 85% of the business is made in San Francisco and the Valley. So is one of the things that language you can only do here in Europe, but we have an unfair competitive advantage because we understand the problem better than anyone, because we have access to the linguist in 1 hour time zone, 200 languages. And so it's one of the things that it's interesting and effective to do here in Europe. And so that's my background as an entrepreneur. And years after I discovered venture capital through Google, Sergey Brin, actually, they were a customer of ours in 2004. And I go to visit them, and Translated at that time was making $2 million of revenue a year. And they were our first big customer. And I asked him, how much is Google making? We're doing an IPO, so I cannot tell exactly. It's about a couple billions. I said, oh, wow. You just started the company 2 years before me. How did you manage it? Like me, I was completely naive in my world, trying to build stuff, and I didn't realize what was going on with venture capital. And so I discovered venture capital too late, because they didn't need any money at that point. And so I did the opposite. I took $6 million out of Translated, and I created Pi Campus, which is a venture fund that invests in applied AI, everything that is not language related. And from transportations to self-driving cars, drones, food delivery, every kind of self-driving automation, I think, and a lot of things in medicine, mostly DNA, which is very similar to language. And so that's my background. Entrepreneur, and then for passion, investor.
And sailor.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I have to say I'm the worst sailor in the planet that was awarded Sailor of the Year.
That's amazing, Marco. Obviously, myself and the audience would like to listen to you and your stories for minimum 6 hours straight, but we have to go to the roulette. And by the way, you obviously have been a lot more successful than me as an entrepreneur, but there is something that I recognize in your when you started that's similar to what happened to me when I started. I mean, you started a lot earlier, but it was also true in 2013 when I started my company. We started to do something, and probably we didn't know it was AI. Now, today, everyone is talking about AI, and that has been the buzzword for the last 2 or 3 years, Gen AI and everything else. I think we started, we were doing text analytics manually with humans doing the job. And then progressively, we started to create technologies to initially support humans and then enhance humans and then potentially replace completely humans, or at least a big part of their job. And I think that's very similar to what happened to you.
Yes, it's very similar, but with few changes. I think that I always have been in love with AI a lot. And so since the very beginning, I was saying AI a lot, and everyone was saying, oh, this is not artificial intelligence, it's just machine learning. And I said, look, machine learning is the process of learning. And then, but what I want to build is an intelligence that is able to do tasks. And so I've been a big promoter of AI as a final goal, and not talking about the tools for many years. And so I always call it that way. I was not one of those that were using it, but then it was thinking about a different brand name, etc. And also strange connections. In 2002, one of the very first algo that we used was a paper by Paul Graham. So Paul Graham, before creating Y Combinator, as a computer scientist, was looking into different problems, and the first application on the internet of AI was spam filtering. And so we took that technology, built it, and so and even there it was clear. Paul was a Lisp programmer. Lisp was invented as a programming language for artificial intelligence. So there was a movement of, hey, AI is coming back. And I've been waiting for 20 years. And now it's back. It's back too much. Okay? So from total underhype, now there is total overhype.
I know. It's incredible because 20 years in technology is like 150 years in anything else. So that's super interesting. Let's go take a look at the roulette, and so you have to. Here we go. So you can say spin and stop whenever you want.
Okay, so I'll say spin. And I'll do like this. Stop.
Oh, real success today. So, well, I will explain to you. So, every time that we spin, and then I take a couple of seconds to tell you a little bit more about this topic, which I think is the first time that comes up in all the spins that we've done so far. So when I wrote it, so what I want to know in the end is, what does real success mean for you today? The side note that I wrote down when I wrote down this topic, when it came to my mind, was: is it possible to be a person of value and a person of success together, or can the two things be disconnected? But this is just an input for you, and then you can tell me whatever you want.
Okay, for a founder, I think that there is a big problem in defining success. And the reason is that you move forward. What I think is the big difference between a founder and someone working on a company is that the non-justifiable amount of obsession you have for a problem. Okay? And you have obsession for problems, not for solutions. And so my obsession is to solve the language problem. And I think the language is the most profound manifestation of human intelligence, was the key factor for human evolution. In my dream, I want to solve language and unlock the next level of human evolution. So if all the planets will understand each other, then I think we can tackle problems that were not possible before. And or we will build together AI system will be so smart that will solve things that we cannot solve alone. But this goes through cooperation. And so I have the obsession with solving this problem. And the problem of feeling success is that you never really feel it. As a founder, you go, and as soon as everyone around you is making the party, because you achieved a certain goal already 2 weeks before the party, the celebration party. Your brain is already challenging the next thing, the next level of the plan that you have. And so you never rest. You never have that peace. I'm trying. So, and I think this is the obsession that move founders, but I think I'm trying to learn how to celebrate also.
But you, and I think it's very inspiring, and I think it's also quite uncommon for many founders to feel that way, because um, there are many founders that are very capable of celebrating and being happy. I don't know if they feel successful, but they definitely seem to be very happy and energized when they achieve certain milestones. I believe that if you look behind and you see what you have done so far, you do feel successful, don't you? You don't.
You know, how
That's
they, it depends who your friends are. And so if your first customer is Google and they're already 1,000 times bigger than you feel you're behind. Okay. If when I founded Memopal, another cloud storage company, 1 year before Dropbox, with 50 times more money than Dropbox. We started with 1 million and something, and they started with $20,000 of seed funding. So we had more money, and we started 1 year before. We sold Memopal for 2.5 million. They are worth 10 billion in the stock market. So it depends who your friends are. That gives you the sense of satisfaction. So then, I think that's where the energy is coming from. And there is also many other sources of energy, like some people like me, when someone tells you that you're not good at something, that basically triggers me the willing of prove them wrong. Okay. And so everyone find motivation in different ways, but for success, I think it truly depends where your peers are. And, translation is a $67 billion market, and Translated only made $80 million last year. So it's super fragmented market. Nobody was able to create a single player worth 10 billion. I think that's the job. And now I'm from 80 million to 10 billion. That's the difference where I am.
I think there is one other topic that then now it's fantastic, this conversation. But there is another topic that I don't think it will come up, or if it does, we spin it again, which says fall in love with the process and not with the outcome. And I think it's so true for you, because I think you're constantly happy and motivated, and I think you feel if you do feel successful is in the making, in while you're trying to accomplish things, and not in the end result so far. So I think that's
we have a say in Translated. Even our recurring meeting where I share with all the team what's happening is called Nothing Ever Happens. And Nothing Ever Happens stands for, I wish something happened this month. Really, there was always something that happened, but our feeling is that, nothing truly happened. I mean, when are the aliens coming? Okay. And will they speak our language? Will they call me to translate? So we're waiting for something truly different to happen. And so we feel like just another month.
Nice. So we're back at the casino for a second spin. Let's see what happens. Up to you. Oops.
And I'll close again, and stop.
This is terrible. This is terrible. Letting people, I don't know if probably it happened to you. So when I wrote down I mean, in my company we went through lots of different stages. Now, we were extremely frugal at the beginning. Then we raised quite some money, more than 20 million altogether, and we started spending and hiring people. And then obviously one of the topics that I suffered the most, or that I thought about the most, was when I hired some people and I had to let some people go. Um, Obviously, there are different types of people that you let go. Sometimes people that do not perform, sometimes people that even if they are good ones, but maybe the company goes through a stage where you have to be more efficient and you have to let go some people. Did it happen to you? What was your sensation?
So I don't give up on people easily, and people complain with me because I actually don't give up. In our boat, the Sailor Run boat, we've wrote on the side, we believe in humans. And um, and so not easily I let people go. And so I was trying to find a way to get around things. And my obsession in trying to do that, because I trust that there is a way everyone can contribute to a company, uh, sometimes comes to the other side, is that people will leave, will decide, because they feel that no, they tried everything that they could, and now then the thing we have translated this happened also this week is that we have about 80% of the people that left that at one point are coming back. Okay,
Okay.
that is the and I think is that idea that in general we never give up. And I just texted another former colleague yesterday. I said, "When are you coming back?" So it's uh, it's difficult for me to let people go because I have this feeling that everybody can contribute, but this has become a little pathologic.
And but have you ever hired someone that you expected to be a top performer and then in the end you were disappointed?
I will never say that because it means that I selected the wrong person myself. So it's an
Okay,
error.
but you can.
Yeah, sure,
It-
sure. It happens. It happens. It happens. But I think what's happening is that every person has got a very broad um, level of skills, and
Mhm.
then when you are in a job, you need certain things, and then you have the teams around. Okay, so trying to find the match between the person, what the company needs, and the team DNA. These also very often create some friction. So yes, uh, I think that no,
Eh,
we let go some people, but it's not a fast process. Never.
it's I can hear you, and um, I I think if I think about the great entrepreneurs that I interviewed so far here, I recognize a common trait, which is that they all, when talking about letting people go, they never say that person wasn't good enough. They always imagine that they either made a mistake in hiring that person. So the person is good, but I made a mistake because I thought he was good for this role. So it was my mistake as an entrepreneur to have hired that person there. Or maybe yeah, I mean, it was just not a fit for the role, but I've never heard anyone saying, that person wasn't good. I think it's also in your case. So
Sometimes you believe it for a while, but then after time passes, you go back and you're more rational. So I think that sometimes if you say this, it's just because you're taken by your emotions. But then after a few years, you look back and it's very clear what you just said.
yeah. That's a very very interesting topic, and it always happened. This same topic came up another time already, and it was with an entrepreneur, a friend of mine, who sold this company for 1 billion. So it's funny that this topic comes up as a question for the most successful people that I interview, no? So we are doing quite on time, and I have someone special like you today. So I want to take the opportunity to do another spin and see and risk it all for for a third topic.
Okay, so start. And then again, I close and I say
Go.
stop.
Wrong communication. No, well, communication is a great topic for you. So when I wrote it down, and I also posted it recently, and as a side note, when I wrote this topic, I wrote, if you need to overthink how to talk to someone, there is something wrong. So did it ever happen to you that you wanted to say something to some other people, and instead of saying it straight out of your mouth, you had every time you have to go there and think, how do I communicate this so that it's perceived in the way I want?
That's a very wide open topic, I think. Well, I'll tell you multiple things. So, number one, there is way to make money and there is way to make the right choice. Okay? And in the world, it's very easy to make money by leveraging human weakness. Okay? And it's very hard to make money by creating tools for humans. The tools for humans are creating a better humanity. Leveraging addiction is creating a very bad place to live. But it's the easy way to make money. And in communication, it's very similar. You can get consensus from people by saying what they want to hear. And you can get short-term aid and long-term love if you tell them what is true and good for them, but is not what they want to hear. And so I have to run a business. And sometimes you need to make things work in the short term. And those compromises are tough. So, because you know what a good communication is and what is the right thing to say for the long-term benefit. But sometimes you need to make things work in the short term. And that thing, for many people, these come natural. They're one type or the other type. Like for me, over the years, I started realizing that difference. And so sometimes I don't feel comfortable in doing some choices. Then I recombine everything in the long-term value and in a compromise. And so communication becomes a compromise. And in my peers, sometimes I recognize very easily when other entrepreneurs are telling people just what they want to hear, because the startup world is fast, and so you're always in short-term optimization, especially around people. And so that is a little frustrating. And so I don't know if this is exactly the angle you wanted for wrong communication, but this is something that I think is profoundly true. How you make money is by giving people what they want. How you create a better future for humanity is that you make an effort to give them what they actually need, and making the effort to explain why they actually need that. And you don't get loved by doing that. You will get loved after you die. So it's it's a painful job.
It's it's a fantastic and I have to say this is also a common struggle for I would say half of the people that I interviewed. There are some that they say no, I just go straight. I always try to have productive conversations, discussions, but ultimately they continue having very, very long, stimulating conversations till everyone agrees with them. That's one way. Or I'm, for example, I had Luca Lamesa playing the roulette recently, and he said he had a situation where he would always go to one person that he thought he was doing very, very, very good, but he would always go to this person only saying, we should change this, we should do this differently, and only with areas of improvement and never compliments, because for him, he gave it for granted that this person was doing extremely well. So, but that person didn't know. So for him, the moment where he could change the pattern was when he explained the background. So the background, the normal situation is that I'm extremely happy about you. When I come to you, it's just because of. So I think maybe also setting the standard, setting the stage, that also helps put some people, at least the ones around you, on the same level, and makes communication quite easier.
Yeah, or you can delegate. Well, I mean, this is also something that, I think everyone on my team will complain about. The fact that I don't tell them that they did a good job. I always come with that obsession that is in me about the next step. It does not allow me to see the good thing that were just done. And so this is, I think there is very different styles of leadership. It's like many founders are, I think, similar to my approach, driven by obsession, and so they create this tension to go forward. And many others are instead welcoming leaders that will create a great team by giving compliments, by saying to people, hey, you did a good job, and creating that continuous sense of satisfaction. Is like in gaming, now you give the reward, and you give high frequent rewards. And I think it's two different styles, and history proved that both worked
Okay.
pretty well. Someone moved that to the excess. I think about Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. Maybe, they never said you did a great job in all their life, I think. But you can go in extremes. And also, I think that if you're running a large corporation,
It's different.
so you're not in the creating mode, you are in the management mode. I think that say good job to everyone. I think it works better for those companies that doesn't need transformation, that doesn't need to grow quickly. They just need to be managed correctly. And so you don't optimize the future, you optimize the present functioning of the company. So I think there is many styles, but that's mine.
I think
so people will complain and never say good job. By the way, Riccardo, you're doing a great job with this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Which style are you using now?
No, I'm trying to simulate the other style. I'm not.
Okay. In the end, I think if you are honest and if you're authentic, and people perceive that you're really passionate and you really believe in what you're doing, in the end they will like you. So I think that's yeah. So Marco, it has been a phenomenal pleasure for me to having you here. Now we say goodbye. When I say goodbye, don't close this, because it happened in the past. And if you close this up before it's uploaded, we lose everything. So just be patient and we talk for a little longer. But for everyone else, guys, see you next time. And Marco, thanks again for being with us today.
Thank you.
Ciao.